My partner and I recently moved into a cozy little house in a quiet town. We were excited about our new home and the possibility of starting a family. Shortly after moving in, we met one of our neighbors, a friendly older couple in their late 60s. However, our other neighbors were farther away and we didn't get to know them for some time. During the initial weeks, we were busy with unpacking and furnishing the house. One evening, as I was shopping for area rugs on my laptop, my partner, Morgan, was cooking pasta in the kitchen. Feeling a bit stuffy, I decided to slide open the back door. To my surprise, I saw a man sitting in one of the chairs in our backyard. Startled, I whispered to Morgan about the unexpected visitor. She too was taken aback when she looked outside and saw him. Uncertain about what to do, we considered confronting him, but his appearance made me apprehensive. He seemed larger than me and had his back turned to us, but the thought of an encounter was still daunting. Morgan suggested I knock on the glass and tell him to leave, but fear paralyzed me. We knew he could see us through the glass, which heightened our anxiety. Despite our reservations, I mustered the courage to knock on the glass and demand that he leave. When he turned to face us, his unsettling half-smile and piercing gaze were disconcerting. He looked about 50 with a long gray beard and tattoos covering his wrists. He approached the glass, continuing to act provocatively and making inappropriate remarks about Morgan. Realizing the severity of the situation, I called 911 while Morgan kept an eye on the man. The operator stayed on the line as I reported the incident, ensuring police would respond promptly. The man eventually left, but our unease persisted. Later that night, while watching TV, we thought we heard something outside and, to our horror, saw him again, smoking a cigarette and making unsettling gestures toward the house. Frightened, I asked Morgan to stay upstairs to spare her from further distress. He then began pounding on the window, uttering vile threats and explicit intentions. I warned him about calling the police again, and the pounding stopped, but we were unnerved by his return. I called the police once more, and this time they arrived more quickly. Unfortunately, the man disappeared before they could apprehend him. The next day, we took the initiative to talk to our neighbors, hoping someone might recognize him. Disturbingly, a couple of few doors down knew him as a dangerous individual with a history of violence towards his ex-wife and struggles with substance abuse. We reported him to the police, but without video evidence, we couldn't press charges. We don't know if he still lives nearby, but we haven't encountered him since. Nevertheless, we remain cautious, hoping for our safety and peace of mind. Let's move to the second story. When I turned 18, I took up a part-time job as a janitor at my high school during the summer. My shifts varied, and sometimes I worked during the day, while other times I worked until midnight, depending on my financial needs. I often found myself responsible for locking up the building after the older janitors had left. At that time, the school didn't have cameras installed in every hallway. One night, my superior, Tom, had to leave early, leaving me to finish the rest of my shift alone and lock up for the night. He assured me to text him if I needed anything, as he usually did, and then he departed. I enjoyed being alone as it allowed me to slack off and spend time on my phone or even leave early while still getting paid for the whole shift. Admittedly, I took advantage of the leniency at that place. Before leaving, Tom asked me to bring the extra seats from the gymnasium down to the basement storage room. The storage room was poorly lit, and the whole basement resembled a warehouse more than anything else. I noticed a bunch of art mannequins covered with paint cloths, those large blanket-like things used to protect the artwork. The school's art supplies were all stored down there. As I carried more chairs to the basement, I realized one of the mannequins was now exposed, although it was covered just minutes earlier. Feeling uneasy, I texted Tom about it, and he seemed surprised, claiming that no one else should be there. He advised me to call the police, but I wanted him to come back since he had only left a short while ago. However, he encouraged me to confront whoever was there, like a man. I mustered some courage and returned to the basement, only to find the cloth now on the floor, and whoever was hiding under it had vanished. I was about to leave when I heard loud metallic thumping from the large air vents above my head. They abruptly stopped directly above me, attempting to break open the floor of the vents. Feeling terrified, I ran upstairs, locked up the school, and went home. The next day, I told Tom a partial truth, mentioning that I thought I saw someone in the corner, but they vanished when I checked again. I didn't reveal the full extent of what had occurred, and it was my last week there anyway, so it wasn't my concern anymore. Let's move to the last story. I'm someone who frequently visits the deep and dark web, but it's not what people usually imagine. Contrary to the popular notion of the dark web being solely evil and filled with crazy individuals, that's just a small portion of it. A while ago, my girlfriend broke up with me, and I reacted by putting her personal information on a forum. Soon after, she disappeared. It's been some time since that incident, and I've encountered people disrespecting me. Despite not having an intimidating appearance or engaging in physical or verbal conflicts. I remember the situation when I worked at a fast food restaurant, and my manager was constantly on my case, berating me in front of my co-workers and customers for my mistakes. One day, his demeaning comment about me being finally on time was the last straw. The humiliation pushed me to find information on him and expose him to others. After browsing through countless dark web links, I stumbled upon a disturbing video on a site called Porkchop. It showed gruesome scenes, making me regret seeing it. In a moment of anger, I submitted my manager's information to another site called Chop. Within days, my manager apologized and offered to work with me more, seemingly a changed person. But later that night, he was surrounded by people wearing pig masks and armed with weapons. Instead of helping him, I called the police. When they arrived, my manager had already been brutally attacked. Soon after the incident, I received an anonymous email containing the video of his torture during his entire shift. It sickens me to know that I played a part in his suffering, and I now feel regretful and disturbed. I can't bring myself to go back to the dark web